Musk criticized the social media site last month for what he perceived as a failure to abide by free speech principles. And then what we were saying here, my interpretation of it is that, and I played the video of Musk. I went and found the video.
I use my tweets to express myself. Some people use their hair. I use Twitter.
Well, but you use your tweeting to kind of get back at critics.
Rarely.
You kind of have little wars with the press.
Twitter is a war zone. If somebody's going to jump in the war zone, it's like, okay, you're in the arena. Let's go.
Okay. Who does that sound like?
I don't know. Who's it sound like?
He sounds like a guy who lives at the White House.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, sure. He's very good at Twitter.
I know.
I think the president is amazingly good at Twitter.
Musk uses Twitter as his way to interact with the world. Without Twitter, he doesn't interact with the world except through the media, and by that is the plural of mediums, of individual reporters. So I'm not talking just about media as in the big news chains, but you could look at it that way. Universities, people just folks who come to interview him, and then they are going to with their lens reinterpret, misrepresent, etc. So this is the multi-billionaires only way to communicate with the world. Think about the power there, the anti-whites wheel, that this is all this guy has. And of course he saw what they did to Trump, another billionaire, not nearly as rich though. Well, you know, if Trump could hear me say that, how pissed he would be. My hands are not small. And he fears incessantly, and that would eat at you. And it's, you know, many times, just as you have had, you're typing a message, I'm talking on YouTube or Twitter, whatever it might be, and you're wondering, okay, I got to actually I can't say that, I can't say this, I can't say that, because they might delete me. The anti-whites might cut my tongue out of my mouth. And, you know, that's got to piss him off. And if you had the option to buy Twitter, might you just want to buy enough of it so that it would be harder for the anti-whites to kick you off? You can get rid of some of that fear. So that's what I think he's actually doing. He wants to be able to speak to the public directly, and he doesn't want to have to constantly fear the anti-whites censoring him, cutting his tongue out, etc., because that gives them power over him. And with somebody who has an increasing amount of power, with billions, a big B, baby, and very different from a big D, a big B. You have no idea where I was going to go with that, do you? You'll have to think about that one for a while. He's tired of it, and he wants to control the platform. And so he buys into it. And I said, the anti-whites at Twitter made a huge mistake. They should have immediately, even before him buying stock, they should have realized this is a problem for us here. But they, of course, have been hiring people on the basis of their gender and sex and whether or not they want to make love to toasters and their race, of course, forever. Just get rid of white people. So they don't have their best. Their best is not at the forefront right now. They should have gone to this guy and said, no matter what, you get to keep your account. We will never, we'll sign a contract. There you have it. You could sue us. We will not get rid of your account no matter what. Meanwhile, they could always just like deregulate it with the algorithms, but they could have done that and that would have kept him appeased. But instead, they kept the fear on him because they're stupid. Now this guy buys into it. He's got to he can't say, oh, this is purely for my social, my personal interest here. I just want to have a way to talk to the public. Why? Because that doesn't seem as noble. How many people are going to be rallied to that cause? Let's make sure that Elon Musk has a place to chat. Let's make sure that he can speak to the people. Nobody's going to care about that. But instead, he says, this is about freedom of speech. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't care at all about freedom of speech. And I'm not saying also that it couldn't become for him something bigger than himself. It could. And I'm also not saying that there's something wrong with him serving his own self-interest, because if that self-interest aligns with the good of Western kind, and in this case, free speech, that's everybody in Western civilization, that's also good. So I'm not saying that any of those things are bad. That's where I believe this guy is.